Welcome to the Small Mike Big Talk podcast. We hope everybody's feeling good out there today. We got a lot to get to. G is in the building. Ro is in the building. We got great conversation today. We agree, we disagree, but most importantly, we're doing it for y'all. A lot of big talk on this small mic. Let's go.
Hey, we back again today, bro. So much like every other day, man, I scan through the socials, Twitter, Instagram for all my sports knowledge too, just to see what's up in the sports world, man. So I'm gonna read this tweet to you that I saw yesterday, and I kind of laughed about it when I read it. So Le'Veon Bell, he tweets, "People do all this hooting and hollering to get you brought in just to leave. LOL. Like people are weird, yo. The internet got these dudes doing whatever for attention, even when they tell you they don't believe themselves." So that tweet, when I read that tweet, I knew instantly who Le'Veon was talking about because when Le'Veon was a free agent trying to get out of Pittsburgh, we had Jamal Adams reaching out to Le'Veon, and he was doing some hooting and hollering. And guess what, bro? Jamal Adams got himself traded from New York for a couple first round picks, a third round pick, and also a safety. So I can understand why Le'Veon was chirping a bit this morning, man. So they got a little beef going on over Twitter. I don't think it's anything really personal. It's all business. But how do you feel about Le'Veon, lashing out at Jamal Adams? And what do you think about Adams, like, recruiting Le'Veon, basically, and then bailing out on him?
Man, that's like Prince complaining about the Vikings wearing purple up in Minnesota with him. It makes no sense to me because, like, Le'Veon left the Steelers out to dry. Yeah. He sat out a whole year, and everybody talking about it was to get his money because of the running back market and all that. No, that's $20 million that he could not get back. So he actually lost the money. Like, you don't get that with the next team. The next team's not paying you for the year that you missed. You're just healthy. So I think it's wrong. I think that Le'Veon, he got his deal, and he's chirping and his mouth is big and all that, and he's judging people. But Jamal Adams, he's still on his rookie deal, and they tried to negotiate a contract, and the sides were far apart. So in essence, I think it really came down to money, because if he would have got the contract that he wanted, Jamal would have stayed in New York and continued to lose. So you got a losing situation, and you're not getting your money. Gee, would you stay?
Right. I definitely would stay, man. But, I understand Le'Veon chirping a bit, but I just didn't like the way Jamal did it, man. I don't know if you saw, he came out, spoke on his coach. He started pulling for straws, man. He was trying to get out so bad. He said that Adam Gase is not a leader of men. He doesn't even address the team. He just started spilling all these in-house things that, just he forced himself out. And Jamal Adams he's better than that as a player. But, I mean, these guys these days, man, they jump on the socials. They do what they got to do. And he forced the Jets' hand. And, man, the Jets made out pretty decent considering they gave up, top 1 or 2 safety in the NFL, man. So, I don't – what you think?
I disagree. I think that you only see players do that to bad teams, right?
Yeah.
You don't see players do that to good franchises that are ran the right way. So isn't Gaze the one that looked high at his press conference when he first got hired? Is that the right guy? Is it the same guy?
That's the same guy.
That's the same guy, right? So I've never been in that locker room, but I'm gonna make it official, guys. He is not a leader of men. I have not been in that locker room, but I can pretty much agree with Jamal Adams on that one. Just look at the record. Look at the way the team. You can tell not by the records, but by how teams compete. I've had some of my teams were horrible, but every game it felt like we had a chance to win. We competed, right? That's not the case with the Jets, man. Players are over there just trying to get money and go hit the club after the games. So if you're not going to pay the guy, he has no incentive whatsoever to stay. He told them to get rid of him, let him go. This relationship toxic. They would not listen. So I think they kind of forced his hand. If you talk about someone's mama, they're gonna fight you. So you talk about the coach, they're gonna trade you.
With that, man, I think outside of all the chirping back and forth and forcing his way out, man. I actually think he fits, Seattle's culture. They seem to want to build their teams from the back, the back end up to the line. Seeing them let go of Clowney was big, but then you replace that defense, you replace him on defense. Different position, but you bring in another superstar, man, in Jamal Adams. So, they were big on the Legion of Doom a few years back, and they believe in the secondary as the heart and soul of that defense, man. But I think he's gonna have an instant impact. Running back there with Quandre Diggs. Trey Flowers was solid. Then you got Shaquille Griffin on the outside. It's not Richard Sherman and those guys, but he's gonna bring something special to that defense.
Yeah, and I think he's a leader. So despite the little tweets and all that or whatever, but once you get between the lines, I think he is an upgrade to Earl Thomas. I mean, right now, not back in the day, of course, but I like Jamal Adams. I think that this guy is elite. Everybody, I mean, it is, right? He is. But I think he changes the entire defense. I think it changes the entire defense, kind of like in the way Minkah Fitzpatrick did for the Steelers, right? I don't really agree with that trade because I wouldn't have given up a first-round draft pick when I need a quarterback of the future from Pittsburgh. But I can't argue with it. Look at what he did to the defense when he got there. He was a turnover machine, right?
So do you think that this spells, even though, Clowney is still out there, still available, I thought after all the initial upfront talks with Seattle that they would still bring him to the table, man. But I think now that you bring in Jamal Adams, you got to pay Jamal Adams, which is not going to leave much money on the table to even entertain, talking to Clowney. And I think losing Clowney is going to be big for the guys in the back, because you're going to have less pressure. You brought in Bruce Irvin, but you're going to have less pressure, man. I thought they should have saved some money for Clowney, man.
Yeah, but they actually supposedly they offered Clowney a lot of money. They didn't actually lowball him. So Clowney thinks he's a quarterback. It sounds like, and he wants he wants franchise money, but you don't get franchise money as a outside linebacker or a defensive end. It just doesn't happen. So I mean, I don't think you can jeopardize your entire team just try to get one guy to impact the defense when Clowney has pretty much showed that he's not J.J. Watt, that he's not a guy you throw on any defense, and he's just, transforms the whole defense. And they did actually draft a guy that I like a lot. They drafted Darrell Taylor, and I just pulled this up. I actually did not know this, and since we was talking about Seattle, I was a little late to the party here looking at their draft picks. But Darrell Taylor from Tennessee is a outside linebacker, defensive end, uber athletic. They picked him up in round 2. I think that's major. Like he's a pass rusher.
Yeah, so, he can get some quarterback. That's going to benefit.
Absolutely. And they also drafted Jordan Brooks, linebacker, as well. So, yeah, that helps.
They're just rebuilding their defense, it sounds like, and they just decided that maybe Clowney just didn't fit, just based on those draft picks you named. But what type of impact do you think, Adams is going to bring? Is it, outside of his tackling, you mentioned that you think he's a good leader. Is he going to just transform that defense, man, and put them back in that top 5 tier?
Absolutely. I think absolutely. I think when you have and we kind of talked about this before, where cornerbacks, it's great to have you a elite cornerback over there that can lock down the best wide receiver, right? I mean, that's where the big money goes. But I can control that cornerback because if I got my number 1 wide receiver and you're going to, I got Julio and you're going to throw your cornerback, let's just say Richard Sherman in his prime over here, then I can send him on ghost routes and keep him out of the way and exploit other positions. But it's difficult to do that with a safety, an elite safety, because they roam all over, right? Yeah. So he can impact the game all sorts of ways. Now, I'm not saying that impact safety deserves more money than a corner, because a corner is directly responsible for the production of the wide receiver he's tasked with, stopping. Right. But I think Adams has that type of impact, dude. I think that he floats all over the field, and just the energy. I mean, just the sheer energy. Like when you have a guy that's a big hitter or forces turnovers, He's a guy. He's a raw guy. I think that he brings the energy, that Legion of Boom type mentality, that everybody's going to love him and they're going to dance and celebrate and have a competition with the offense to say who's the real leader of this team. Is it this side of the ball or yours?
Right. Yeah. No, man, I think he's going to have a big impact as well. So I agree with your points there. I was just thinking like what they gave up to get him. You know, a lot of people, like you were saying, cherish these lockdown corners. So, you know, to get Jalen Ramsey, you had to give up 2 first-round picks. You know, I think the safety trade with Adams, they gave up 2 first-round picks plus more. So the value, you know, Jamal Adams is only like 24 years old. So, you know, maybe he does have that type of value, man. I mean, he brings the whole, you know, kitchen sink when he comes in. He's ready at all times. He's definitely a player. But I don't know, man. You know, he's going to be a quarterback on defense. I think they gave up a little bit too much, though. So what sounds like to me, if you had to grade them, you're giving them an
A. And this is why, yes, I give them an A because I think this could possibly get them a Super Bowl. And anytime if you get a bowl championship out of it, then whatever you did to get it was worth it, right? Yeah. But also, I think that if it was, let's just say, a top 5 draft, you know, a team, you know, in the top 5 or the bottom of the league as far as wins and losses, then I wouldn't do it because, you know, you're giving up some top tier prospects. And even though Adams is a top tier prospect, you already lost a couple of years off his rookie deal. Now you got to pay him. So I wouldn't do that if I was the Giants or if the Jets trading for him. I wouldn't do it at all. But if I'm a team at the bottom of the, you know, that's going to draft damn near in the second round, I'm basically giving up 2 second or 3 second rounders, right? Yeah. But also, if you draft 3 second rounders, you might get 1 quality player out of those 3. 2, if you're a great GM. And would you trade those 2 players directly for him? Probably. McDougal was the guy they traded, right? That's probably a second round type talent that they're going to get with that pick. So would I give up 2 of him for Jamal? I think I'd do it. Yeah, I think I'd do it.
Yeah, the way you broke it down, yeah, I agree with that, man. I think he's definitely worth it if Seattle can continue to win, if Russ doesn't get hurt. Because if he gets hurt, the chances of, you know, being a high draft pick or you know, getting to the bowl diminishes quickly, man. Because, but so at this point, it seems like Seattle is going to pay 2 guys, 1 on each side of the ball. Because Russ has already gotten paid. We know Jamal is going to get paid. So are they going to become the Rams over the next 3 years? You're going to risk it all for the ship? Or are you going to try to balance this thing out, man? Because they could very well be the Rams. And we saw the Rams fell apart after they gave Jared Goff all that money.
I think the Rams were too L.A. I think the Rams were infatuated with big names. So if you look at their roster up and down, it was all Hollywood to me, right? True. Like it was just straight Pro Bowlers. And it kind of reminded me of the old Eagles team that they said they was going to go undefeated, where they had Vince Young and Michael Vick and, you know, Sean McCoy. And it was just loaded, but, you know, it wasn't a good team. Seattle has history of building their team the right way, just through the draft. And a lot of their starters are 4th, 5th, 6th rounders. So they don't necessarily build through splash free agents and all that. They get the free agent off the bargain bin, right? That, you know, he's a very good player, but he's not let's just say a max type player, right? That you're going to put at the top of the market for that position. So they don't do this often. So I kind of have faith in their coaching staff and Pete Carroll and their GM that I think this works for them because they'll build it the right way. You know, they seem, I mean, they've been relevant for a long time since Carroll got there pretty much. Right. And I just think it works. You know, even if it fails though, right? Like this isn't the quarterback position. So he could be average and they could still win a Super Bowl.
That's true. I think they do a good job of building a roster, and then when they turn it over, you don't really see, you know, them losing when they do roster turnovers. They'll get rid of a few guys, cut a few guys here and there, but they'll replace them with better value guys. You know, like you said, you may get lucky with a 3rd round pick because Pete Carroll, you know, being a college coach, dominated college for, you know, a lot of years. So he recognizes that young talent that you can get in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds. So he does get value out of other positions. So I don't disagree with you on that, man. So, we talked about Jamal Adams, man. So that brings me to the start bench cut that we do, right? So, LSU has been DBU in a lot of these years in drafts, right? So I'm gonna give you 3 LSU DBs, and you tell me who would you start, bench, or cut. All right. First one I'm gonna give you is Patrick Peterson, All Pro, Arizona Cardinals corner. You Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, All Pro, safety with the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. And then I'm gonna add Jamal Adams in there, man. Future probably All Pro. And well, he has already been to the All Pro team. So those 3, Pat Peterson, the Honey Badger, Jamal Adams, start, bench, cut.
We're definitely going to disagree on this one. There's no doubt in my mind. My first one I'm starting is Jamal Adams. I just think this guy is an absolute monster, right?
Okay.
I know he doesn't cover the way that you like, but I just think he impacts the game. I think that if you're an offensive coordinator, as soon as you sit down and prepare for that week, that you're just focused on him on the side of the field. Then I'm going to bring in Patrick Peterson off the bench. He's a lockdown corner and good size, great speed, and technique. He knows how to play the game. He's a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. He's an absolute Hall of Famer. He's never going to get a Super Bowl ring, but, he did his job. You cannot blame him. Yeah, not in Arizona, absolutely. And then I'm going to go with the Honey Badger, who his whole career is pretty amazing. He won a national championship, was basically the best player on the field, right? Then, did he win a national championship?
Yeah, I think they did win one.
He did. Yes, he did. Won a Super Bowl, right? And if you look at him, you wonder how is he in the league?
Yeah.
Right.
Based on his actor and everything.
Yeah, he's not somebody that stands out, but it's all upstairs with him. Anytime he steps on the field, I think he's the smartest guy on the field. Football wise, he's the smartest guy on the field.
Very instinctive, man.
Very.
He takes calculated chances, and he wins most of his chances he takes too.
Absolutely.
Actually, on this start, bench, cut, man, I'm actually going to agree with you every step of the way.
What?
Yeah, it's a little different, man. I thought about it. Jamal Adams, man, he's 24, man. He's already a dominant safety in the league. Like you said with Pat Peterson, his cover skills, he's a Hall of Famer. And the Honey Badger, man, as many plays as he makes, he's a little long in the tooth now. He's probably approaching 30, which at that position, that's a tough position. I like his versatility a lot, though. He can go slot, he can go free safety, he can go strong safety. But just based on Jamal Adams, up and coming, solid, all pro caliber player, I'll stick with what you had, man. So I think we both agree that this trade for Seattle was a great trade. I think they got value. They had to give up a little bit, but Jamal Adams can't do anything but help Seattle get back to the bowl.
And I think that we just made history because this is the first time that we've ever agreed on a start, bench, cut order. So we need to archive this one because, this was history. We don't agree on the color of the sky, fellas.
Right. All right. We'll wrap it up, man, and go ahead, bro.
All right. Yep. So we want to thank everybody for the support. Please show us some love by liking, following, or commenting on the show. We would like to see what you got to say, and please subscribe as well. Y'all be safe out there.
All right. We're out.